And Jason, I do have a quick question. So I remember when I was taking my LM,
Mhm.
I can't remember exactly where I may have got the information from, but someone or something I read was saying that if you have questions that question and the answer involves something dealing with like an assessment or something, that will always be the answer. Is that true or?
So I'm glad you asked that question, Rachel. So this, what you're talking about is essentially what I was saying I wanted to address today. I wanted to make sure we spend a little time talking about. People really love the mnemonics, right? Does anybody who here has heard the mnemonics that are online, um, where it's like Farafi and
Yeah.
there's some
Yes.
other ones. What are
Yes.
some of the other ones? Come on, talk to me. Garrett, Wanda, who knows the other ones?
Um, oh my goodness.
It's the whole idea is them you should be able to remember them, right?
I
I
know,
don't
right?
remember them honestly.
That's right, but that's their whole idea. Here's what I'm going to say about those. They are useful if you are in a pinch. If you find yourself in a tough situation where you are struggling to determine what to do next or what to do first, those things can be useful, right? They can be useful to help you kind of get through that tough spot. But I assure you, they are not to be relied on. Okay. They are not to be leaned on as this is the strategy, this is the tool that you will use to help you, get through the exam. I assure you, they are not that because when they say, for example, safety first, of course, that's a good one. You want to prioritize safety. Of course, that's valuable and meaningful to prioritize safety. But as most of you all know, in our Facebook group this week, when we had this exam question, look, I just want y'all to take a moment and look at, because this one is the safety first answer, right? 410 social workers were, I mean, firm, strong, adamantly telling
Yes.
us, oh my God, what are you doing? You have to protect this 14-year-old girl. She's,
Yes.
her family is they're beating her to death. And we're not here to judge, we're not here to investigate. We have to just protect this kid. True, we do, right? But this is a perfect demonstration of how those acronyms or mnemonics can throw you off if you depend on them. If you depend on them in lieu of your own clinical skills, in lieu of actually putting yourself in the room. One of the best answers I saw was in there's a group in here that this was shared in was the it's called the conservative social workers group. I have to be a part of every group where social workers are, so I'm in that group. And I'll tell you what, one of their conversations that they had in there, they talked about it. And one of the people said, you're not going to just get up out of the room with this child in the middle of session and go call, DCF or CPS and make a report. If you're actually in the room and having this scenario happen, then you're going to process this with this family first. You're going to ask more questions. You're going to learn more about what is this physical punishment that we're talking about, right? And that's what, you know, thankfully 868 social workers agreed on that this is what we will do. We gotta actually determine the severity of what's going on. So even though we are putting safety first, but we're not being reactive. Does that make sense to you, Garrett?
Makes sense to me.
Murad, I know you answered this question online. I did see it. I saw your answer when you answered it, and I said, well, okay, we're learning. That's why we're here. We're growing, right?
Can
I
I
mean,
just I just wanted to just say um that's the difference with your program versus like TDC, because I used them, and that's literally one of the things that she says. Um, what's it, Amanda Rowan, I think her name was. She was saying that I'm gonna tell a family like, hey, that listen, this may be I'm gonna have to report this. She's saying physical abuse, and then she said the reason that she would do that is because they would be less likely to conduct that same behavior until the investigator comes out. So that is funny because I have that program too, and I was listening to
Right.
both, and this is the first time I could do a compare and contrast.
Wow. Yeah. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's not a bad thing to, we are in both of these scenarios, we're protecting the child. But in one of them, we're being a clinician doing it. Right. And that's what I'm looking for. Be a clinician, demonstrate clinical skills, clinical competency. Right, Amy? I mean, that's what we're here for. We got to develop clinical competency so that we can be strong in our clinical skills. By the way, Amy, go ahead and put your credential and your score on the last name after your name on your screen. Yeah, this is what we're here for. So anyway, but I changed to this screen too because I wanted to just kind of touch back on again in the ASW in our program. We give you a bunch of tools, including in the intro. If for those of you who have the modules, this is all included where we break down, how to do the different types of exam items, right? This is important information to read through as part of the intro, the pre-module content. Before you even get into actual material, spend some time in this space. Spend some time going through these terms, right? These are terms that are meaningful to helping us get through this exam process. So, all right. So these are terms, these are definitions, but we are not, we don't engage in the mnemonics. I don't think that they are, I think that again, they can get you out of a bind or maybe kind of get you, it's kind of like, let's say I always like to use GPS as an example. Let's say you are, you're driving along and you know how GPS sometimes will tell you signal lost, right? GPS signal is lost. And so now you have to kind of figure out what turn to make, whether to go forward, whether to get off the exit right here on the highway, whatever. You got to figure it out until your signal picks back up, right? That's what I think the mnemonics are. They kind of help you get your signal back, but they're not the solution. They just help get you back on track. They help kind of trigger your thinking to get back on track, that is useful. But when we talk about actually using them as depending on them to find the key, please do not do that. Please, I urge you, use your skills, use your be a skilled clinician. Right? Tiffany knows what I'm talking about. Welcome, Tiffany. So good to have you here today.
Hey, good morning.
All right. All right. So let's get into another one again. But so for those of you who have the modules, use this information. Get in here. Don't hold back. Don't just skip by it. Get into it because it's useful, it's meaningful, and it's there for you. Right? It's there to help you. These are tools, right? Tools in your toolbox.